If a woman says, accept my get for me, and the shliach says he received it, he needs two groups. She needs two groups of witnesses. Two of them will say that she actually appointed the shlichus, appointed the shliach. And two people have to say that he received it. There was a kabbalah saget v'kora, and we're talking about. Babli mentioned it in the Mefarshim here. Say, why do you have to rip the get? We're talking about b'shas hashma. They were geyser on mitzvahs, so they would rip up the get as soon as they received it. Even if they're both the first witnesses could also be the second witnesses. It could be one witness and then one guy doing one witness for each of the acts, and then one witness is testifying for both of them. That's fine. Naida Murosa, if you have a girl who's betrothed, both she or her father are able to
like to say goodbye to me, but you tap me on the shoulder.
Yehuda argues, he says, no, you can't have two people having the ability to receive the get. Hello, rather, only her father. Any woman is not able to keep her get, she's not able to get divorced. So that's the reason why Shaita is not able to get divorced.
Oh, say that again. Why a sota can't get divorced?
If a woman becomes a shaita, she cannot get divorced because she can't watch her get. She doesn't realize that she's divorced. She'll always come back to her husband. She's always going to come back. She doesn't have das, so therefore, someone who doesn't have das can't receive the get. Now, on the one hand, the woman doesn't. We don't need the woman's permission to divorce her. On the other hand, she still has to have enough das to mishamra as gita. If a woman says, receive my get. I skipped, sorry.
Are you talking about before she's tested by the waters?
No, not a soita, a shoita, nishtata, a shoita with a shin.
Shota. Yeah, somebody like a foolish person. Right?
What?
It's a foolish person or what's the word?
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't have faculties or
mental capacity. Yeah.
Shota.
Okay, so the Gemara goes on. The Mishnah goes on. Sorry, I forgot. I skipped the Mishnah. The Kitano, Shomra Yiskabali Git. If you have a Kitano who said, "Receive my get from me," get get liyoda. It's not a get until the get reaches her hands. She cannot appoint a shlich lekabbalah. So therefore, the husband is always able to be chayzer. A minor is not able to make a shlich. You have to be a gadol in order to make a shliach. If her father said, receive from my daughter a get, if you want to be chayzer, you cannot be chayzer, because if the father appoints a shliach, that's a different story. Father appoints a shliach, then there is a shliach lekabbalah.
Isn't a katan in her father's domain?
Yeah,
katana.
Her father married her off.
Oh, so why did they bring up the katana? It should be the father, right? That would receive the get.
Tried to appoint the shliach, she's not able to, but her father could.
Her father married.
She's married. Yeah.
Married.
Is she fully married? I think she's only merosa. I think she's only betrothed, if I understand correctly. Because after she's fully married, I don't know if her father has any more rishus over her. Okay. Gemara goes on. The Gemara says, if a woman says, receive my get from me. Who moida? You'd start a shliach. What if the husband is moida? Why can't the husband, the haidoas husband that he gave it, and the shliach? Why is that not enough? Why do you have two separate edim? Tiftar shayakorev. This is a very interesting question. We didn't have this in the Babli. Why isn't the fact that the husband admits? Why is that not considered an aid? Tiftar shayakorev. Let's say the shliach was a korev, so the husband is able to mitzaref, but not with the shliach. You need someone else besides the husband. We'll say that the shliach was a relative. We can learn from
A
here,
relative to who? A relative to the husband or a relative to her? A relative to who?
a relative to her. And you could also, yeah, you can't have. It doesn't matter, or a relative to the husband. In other words, either way, he wouldn't be able to testify. He can't testify for her because he's her relative. He can't testify together with the husband because he's his relative. But we're mainly talking about that he's her relative, and that's the deal of the Gemara. From here, we can learn that a relative is allowed to be made a shliach. This is a halacha.
What did you say about a relative?
You could make your relative your shliach. You might think to say, just like a shliach
Yes.
you can't have a relative as an aide, maybe you also can't have a relative as a shliach. We learn from here that you could have a relative as a shliach.
That's not a conflict of interest.
No, he's your messenger. He's allowed. He has the koach to carry out what you want. What do you want to do? He's not testifying for you. He's just fulfilling your shlichus. He's like your yad, your long hand. He and her father can receive her get. Just like there's a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Tanakama, if the Nairo is able to receive her get, Rabbi Yehuda, the Tanakama says she can, and Rabbi Yehuda says she can't, only her father. So too by Kiddushin. That's Rish Lakish's opinion. We're on the next page now, Daf Lamed Hey. Omer Rabbi Yochanan says, Hakel meidim b'kiddushin she'avio mikadsha v'loihi. Rabbi Yochanan said, everybody's meidim by kiddushin, that only her father and not she. Why?
What if she did it anyway? She eloped. She was a nara. She eloped. Her husband, her father didn't know about it.
According to the Shita, she's not Mekudeshes. According to Rabbi Yochanan. And I think that's actually the halacha. The Korbaneda explains the reason. You can't compare. When it comes to Gedushin, it's a filo bal karcha against her will. So you don't need das. Das makne, or das. So because it's bal karcha, it doesn't matter if it's her or her father. It doesn't matter about her father. As long as there's a Kabbalah. Mashenka by Kedushin where you need das. And Torah gave it over to the father. The ability to be Mekadosh, or the daughter cannot be Mekadosh herself. That's Shitas Rabbi Yochanan. Says the Gemara, everybody agrees, even Rish Lakish will agree that by Nisuyin she doesn't have the ability because there's another element here. If she gets married, then her father loses Rishus over her and he's no longer able to take Maisi Odeh. When she's an Eidus Barusa, Maisi Odeh Leovia, so her father still has the work of her hands. By Nisuyin, she no longer has the work of her hands. So because Torah gave him the schus to marry off his daughter, not her, at that age, before when she's only 12, so then for sure she cannot marry herself off. Only betroth. According to Rabbi Yochanan, if you remember in the Mishnah, we said a katana can't make a shliach. What about a nairo? So the Gemara analyzes. According to Rabbi Yochanan, even by Gedushin, she can't make a shliach. Even though, just like he says that she can't do Kiddushin, so too by Gedushin, even though he's saying that according to the Tanakama holds, by Gedushin she can receive her own get, she can't make a shliach. A naira could make a shliach, but not in this situation. Because in this situation she's under the Rishus Aviyah, she can't make a shliach. According to Rish Lakish, she has das by her father, just like she's able to be Mekadosh herself, she could also make a shliach. Very interesting. This is a discussion that we didn't have at all in the Bavli. Maslisa Plio Rabbi Yochanan. The Gemara asks, there's a mission that argues with Rabbi Yochanan. It says, it says a man can be Mekadosh with him and a shliach, and a woman can be Mekadosh herself with her and her shliach. So we see clearly a woman could make a shliach. We'll say what did
you say about a woman can be what?
That she could make a shliach. Rabbi Yochanan says, even though a nairo is able to be mekabel as gito, she can't make a shliach. According to Rish Lakish, she could make a shliach. Obviously, Rish Lakish won't differentiate between kiddushin or gedushin. In both cases, she should be able to make a shliach. The Gemara asks, we see that a woman can make a shlicha. A woman could make a shlicha. So it's a question on Rabbi Yochanan. It's a double question from Yechon. It's a question on him both that he said a woman can't be mekadosh herself, an item also can't be mekadosh herself, and also that she can't make a shlucha. I guess maybe more that she can't make a shlucha, because he'll obviously say we're talking about a gedola. But the Gemara, I guess, is asking. We see that a woman has the koach to make a shlucha, and the way they understand Rabbi Yechanan is that she doesn't have it all. A woman doesn't have it all the koach to make herself a shliach. Maybe, I don't know. That's a dochel. So maybe it's a question on both by the fact that he says a woman can't be mekadosh herself, and the fact that she can't make a shlucha for herself by Gittin. Well, the easy answer is that whole mission is talking about a naira who's a begeris. She's totally reached maturity. She's reached full maturity. So a
nara, it doesn't refer to age, refers to her maturity, right?
Naira is from the time she brings simanim, when she reaches maturity, until she becomes 6 months later. Then she turns into begeris.
Okay.
So the Gemara asks, "Vatninon Tana Shomri Skabali Gittin and get you a get liel." It says in the Mishnah that a Kitana who said to receive a get from me, it's not a get until the get reaches her hands. So what can you be medayik here? Only a Kitana not, but a Naira yes. So this is a much stronger question on Rabbi Yechon. Only a Kitana can't make a shlucha, but a shliach. But a Naira, if you're already betrothed, you could make a shliach. That's a diuk. That's what we can infer from this Mishnah, from our Mishnah. He'll answer that that's talking about a woman who doesn't have a father. He's talking about if their father's around. So Rabbi Yechon is already starting to be dochuk. Vatnina and the chayda we said in the Mishnah, so the very end of the Mishnah was that if the father said to receive the get from my daughter, then the husband cannot go back on it if the moment he gives into the hands of the father's shliach. Her shlucha he could be chayzer because she can't make a shliach. It's his. It turns into his shliach, the husband's shliach. But if the father makes a shliach, he can't be machzer. So we see clearly from our Mishnah, we are talking about where she has a father, and nevertheless, it only says a ketana can't make a shliach, but a naira, a betrothed woman, could make a shliach. Gemara answers, we'll have to say our Mishnah is talking about both cases. Reisha b'yisoyma, the beginning when it says a ketana can't make herself a shliach, but a naira could, it's talking about yisoyma. The seifa b'sheish lav. The end is talking about where she does have a father. That's I think that's very dochuk, but that's our Rabbi Yechanan. Taiches sof kosof the halacha is like Rabbi Yechanan. Actually, I don't know what the halacha is about making a shliach. That I don't know. By Gittin, could she make a shliach? I'm not sure. It doesn't say clearly what the halacha. It doesn't show where what the halacha is in this case. The halacha is like Rabbi Yechanan that she can't be mekadosh herself if she's a naira. But can she make a shliach by Gittin? That I'm not sure. Okay, so to Gemara weiter.
You already have this, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Should put it in the spot. Diapers? Why not? Okay, the Gemara goes weiter. Masniso pligo Reish Lakish. We have a Mishnah that argues with Reish Lakish Shitza that she could make a shliach. So state, it says, Aish Mekadesh is bitik shinayda by v'shlucha. It says clearly a man, who Mekadesh his daughter when she's a naida with him in a shliach. It only says his daughter. It only says the man, the father. It doesn't talk about her doing it for herself. Plus look at Reb Yehuda. He'll have to say it's like Shitza Reb Yehuda. The Reb Yehuda holds 2 hands are not zeicha together. This is very interesting, Yerushalmi. Rav Yesi said like this. Some people change the gears to Omer Rav Yesi. This is like a new din. There was a Rav who came out of the Beis Medrash where they would gather. Omar Nafak Uvda Rabbi Yochanan v'Samchin Aloi. He said that the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan and we trust him. Not that we should have trusted him because he wasn't so reliable. Because it was close, there's 2 interpretations. Because it was so close to the Beis Medrash, they were not scared that he's going to say something. He would be scared to say something inaccurate. Mushki, we're right on my talus. Inaccurate. The other interpretation of the Carbon Ada is that we're afraid that he forgot some details, but because it was so close, he only came a short distance. It was so close and he only came a short distance. we're not worried that he forgot it. So it's very interesting. We see how important it is to rely on somebody who's a bar samcha. Chavraya Amrin. So we have another machlekes. Chavraya Amrin. The Chavraya said, "Bechotzer v'arba amas pligin." When it comes to a chotzer and arba amas, there's a machlekes. Does she have chotzer? In other words, she is able to be megureshes. A ktana has chotzer. A ktana, you could give her get if she's a minor. The question is in her hands. Does she have chotzer? Does she have arba amas? Can you put it in her courtyard? Let's say she owns a courtyard. Can you put it in her courtyard? Can you give it? Can you put it within 4 amas of her? Or do you have to put it directly in her hand? That's the question. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, she has both chotzer and arba amas. It's interesting. Before Rabbi Yochanan was strict, he says a naira doesn't have a shluchah, a naira cannot be mekadosh herself. Here it's a different story. Here the question is, does she have chotzer and arba amas? It's different than shliach, I guess. Rabbi Yochanan says she has chotzer and she has arba amas. Rish Lakish says no, you have to give it directly into her hands. She doesn't have a chotzer, she doesn't have arba amas. Rabbi Elazar Omar, the chotzer pligin vein arba amas. According to Rabbi Elazar, he says the machlekes is only if she has chotzer, but everyone agrees that she does not have arba amas. That's very interesting. Now the Gemara has a question. Mi Omer Rabbi Yochanan bepishit yadayim. Now Rabbi Yochanan says, oh,
Just to go back, David, you said that everybody agrees that with arba amas she does not have. You just said she does not have. If they're arguing on chotzer, then wouldn't they all agree that she does have arba amas, because that's a lot less than chotzer?
Who, Rebbe Lozer? You're asking like logically?
Yeah, I'm asking logically. If they're arguing on chotzer, then they wouldn't be arguing on arba amas.
They shouldn't be asking on arba amas, you're saying. I guess like this.
They should all agree that she does have arba amas.
Says the Pnei Moshe. The Pnei Moshe explains it like this. Rabbi Yochanan holds that there's something called yad. Chotzer is called yad. So there's an extra time it says yad. So we learn from there that chatzera kiyoda, her chotzer is like her hand. So just like you can put it in her hand, you could also put it in her chotzer. However, when it comes to arba amas, that's not mamish like her hand. Okay, people will say that a person's koina the arba amas around her. A person the whole logic of arba amas is that it's like your chotzer, even though you don't really own it. It's similar to chotzer because it's within your 4 amas. Every person has 4 amas, but I guess Rebbe Lozer holds that everybody agrees that there's no 4 amas in such a situation. But chotzer is simpler than arba amas because chotzer for sure she owns it. That's the way the Rebbe Lozer looks at it. So the Gemara asks like this: Mi Omer Rabbi Yochanan bepishit yadayim. If it's close enough that you could just reach your hand out and grab it. It's interesting that l'choiro. Now I see. According to Rabbi Elazar, sorry, this is a question according to Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar said that everybody agrees that ein la arba amas. So the question is, according to Rabbi Elazar, would Rabbi Yochanan agree that if she could just reach out her hand and grab it, it's closer than 4 amas. It's within like a foot or two. Is that also not okay, or is that okay? That's the question. The Yerushalmi, we don't have an answer. In other words, the first opinion was that B'chalal, for sure she has arba amas. According to Rabbi Elazar, that she doesn't have arba amas. Could she? What if it's close enough for her to just reach out and grab it? Is that enough? We don't have an answer. This is an interesting question. You could make a shliach. What about the chotzer of your shliach? If you throw it into the chotzer of the shliach. Okay. We're turning the page now to Lamed Hey Amud Beis. Nisas he lo yavia. If the naira gets married, her father no longer is going to have her shus. The moment she gets married, she's on her own. So that was like what I said before. That's the Yerushalmi clearly says it. Kitano avia v'lo. If she's a kitano, she only her father and not her. Kitano who's an arusa, only her father can receive her get and not her. So, in other words, we're saying even though the Mishnah was talking about Nairam Rasi Hiva Avim Kamas Gita was only if she's a Naira. If she's a Ketana and she has a father, only her father and not her. Nisas Bein Hi Bein Avia. If she gets married when she's a Ketana, her and her father can receive it. According to the Pnei Moshe, she's able to receive it if she has das. Her father's able to receive it if she doesn't have das. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe her father does have the koyach to kabel her get.
When it says Bein who doesn't mean her father. No,
both her and her father.
husband.
Bein he, bein avia. Both her and her father.
Both
both her and her father. Yerushalmi clarifies. Bein he, bein avia means both her and her father. So Yerushalmi clarifies.
It's Bein. Okay.
Bein he. If she has das, only her, not her father. But if she doesn't have das, then her father could. What's a ketana that needs b'chlal get? There's miyah. Rabbi Yechanan. Actually, let's I'll reinterpret it according to the Carbonate. I like the Carbonate this chat. What's a ketana that tzricha garis that she's able to, that she herself has das, that she's able to become to have a get, If you give her get and something else, and she knows which one needs to be kept, that's a woman who has das. Okay, let's do another one quickly. I have to stop soon, but let's do maybe one or two. They're very short. Halacha Gimel says the Mishnah. 10 get the ishti b'makim pleni. Someone who says, give a get to my wife in a certain place, and they gave it to her in another place, puzzle. But if you said that she's in a certain place, kosher, and they gave it to her in another place, then it's kosher. A woman who says, receive my get in a certain place, and they received it in another place, it's puzzle, it's kosher. He holds it's only Kimara Mokim because she wants to have her get. Havali Giti Mokim Pleni kosher. But if she said, bring my get from a certain place and they brought it from another place, then for sure everyone will agree that it's kosher. Tana Shomri Skabal Giti V'chulu says the Gemara Masnisa Deloika Rabbi Lazar. Because it says Kitana that said he's Skabali Giti. We said in the Mishnah before, Kitana Shomri Skabali Giti and again she get liyoda. A Kitana who said to receive my get, it's not a get until the get reaches her hand. In other words, she can't make a shlich like Kabbalah. Masnisa Deloy Rabbi Lazar. Our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Lazar. According to Rabbi Lazar, even with the husband, will be fine. If he's a maramokim, if he gives a maramokim, if he says that it should be in the so and so. It's interesting that the title is not really what the title is not fitting with what the Risham is talking about. It's weird. Masnisa de Rabbi Lazar. In other words, the first part of the Mishnah where it's talking about that the husband said you should give the get in so and so, and they gave it in another place. It's not okay. Rabbi Lazar will say it is okay. Rabbi Lazar will only argue. Rabbi Lazar will only agree. I'm sorry, if the husband clearly says, "Don't divorce her except in a certain place." But if he said she's in a certain place and he went and he divorced her in another place, then everyone will agree that it's maramokim. That's no problem. Machlekes is if he says be megadish in a certain place, then you have a machlekes. Okay, the next one, halacha daled. Havali giti, get the other. If she said bring my get for me, she can still eat truma if she's married to a kohen until actually the get reaches her hands. Skabali Gita, but if he said to be makabel the get, I said right away she's not allowed to eat truma because we suspect that maybe the shliach already got the get immediately. Skabali Gita complaining, receive my get from me in a certain place. She can get later. She can eat truma until the get reaches that place. Belazar says it's forbidden right away. Okay, the Gemara. My time of the Rabbi Lazar. What's the reason of Rabbi Lazar? Rabbi Eliezer says, Oyser miyad. Rabbi Eliezer says it's right away forbidden. She said to receive the get in a certain place. So what's the reason of Rabbi Eliezer? You could say, you never know. You never know. She might have found him after behind the door. In other words, because Rabbi Eliezer holds that it doesn't have to be in that place. So even if you find, the moment he finds the shliach gets the get, it's already Megudeshes, it's already considered divorce. So therefore, immediately she's not allowed to eat truma. In Demai, it's Perak Dal in Demai. So someone who says, someone who tells someone who's not Nemon alamaisus, he's not believed. If you tell him, buy from me produce from someone who's Nemon and so on, he's not believed. He's not believed. You have to master it all over again. You can't trust that the shliach took it for you from someone who's in a Nemon. Okay, so the Gemara goes on. Tani Rav Yossi Omer Afilu Omer Lemi Ploini and Inam Shem Lekach Fani Noisen Mois. Rav Yossi says even if he said from so and so, until he says first take it, then I'll give you the money. Then he'll get the money. Then he'll get he'll have to pay the guy the money. So then you're sure that it's that guy. But otherwise, you don't even know if it's the guy. You don't even know. Even if he says so and so, I got it from so and so. You don't even know if you can trust. My time with the Rav Yossi. Why is he so strict? He found somebody closer, and he bought it from him. He didn't want to schlep. So it's a chashash. We're worried because we're talking about kashrus. So the Gemara asks, we see that Rabbi Eliezer is like Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Eliezer in our Mishnah says right away the get is also because you might find the guy, and Rabbi Yossi over here is in the case of the Demai is like Rabbi Eliezer. Because he says that right away, we're worried he found a cutter right away to buy it from. Says the Gemara like this. Rabbi Yossi Ribam and Rabbi Eliezer, V'loi made Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Eliezer will also say that you're going to find the cutter in a Rabbi Eliezer will go like Rabbi Yossi, but Rabbi Yossi is stronger than Rabbi Eliezer. Now, according to in a certain sense, Rabbi Yossi is stronger than Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer would agree that if the woman said, only receive the get from me in a certain place, that she could eat truma until the get reaches that place. It's not like there's a machlekes, but we're saying over here, it's even stronger. Even if he said to take it from so-and-so, he's not believed because we were worried that he's going to lie. Because we know that now you could ask, what do you mean? The person doesn't have a cheskes kashrus? We're talking about a person who lost his trustworthiness. We know that he doesn't tithe his produce. So therefore, we can't trust him, and he might take it from a relative. Now, this is the next level. According to the Tanakama, if he says to take it from so-and-so, then you believe him. Here, it's much stronger. He said to take it from so-and-so. We still don't believe him. Until he didn't, unless he didn't give him money. He says, take it from me and I'll give the money. My time the reason Rabbi Yossi will say that he might have found the korev and he bought it from him. Okay, all right. I think we'll stop for today.
Okay, I hope